Welcome to the Tell Me Somethin Good podcast. Ranked by the International Association of Awesome Podcasts as the best podcast in the history of podcasts. Wait, is that a thing? I don't think that's a thing. Anyway, seeking to shine a light on all that is good in an ever-darkening world of negativity. Here's your host, Clint Swindall.
Hey everybody, I'm Clint Swindall, and this is the Tell Me Somethin Good podcast, the show that is all about creating a more positive world by overcoming negativity. It is my goal each episode to engage your mind, encourage your heart, or enlighten your soul. I am happy you're here. This is episode number 14 of the Tell Me Somethin Good podcast, entitled Celebrating the Good Stuff, brought to you by Let's Talk Smack, an app that provides daily nudges to take your social media game to a whole new level. Look, we all know that social media is where it's at if you're wanting to enhance your company or personal brand. The more we post, the more we're seen. And quite frankly, people are tired of seeing the cat videos you share because you've run out of ideas of what to post. If you're wanting to have a more engaging presence on social media for your company or your personal brand, you need a plan. You need a variety of things to share, and the Let's Talk Smack app can help you with that. I'm telling you, it works. Check it out wherever you get your apps. Here we are, friends, episode number 14. If you're just now joining us, it's not too late to get caught up on the previous 13 episodes. We're averaging somewhere around 22, 23 minutes an episode, so you can binge listen to them all in a day, or spread them out over a couple days commuting back and forth to work. No excuses. Get you some good stuff from the podcast. If you are new to the podcast, then you should know we're all about focusing on the good stuff to overcome all the negativity in the world. Tell Me Somethin Good is a challenge to enhance the conversation, to get ourselves and those we encounter to think about the good. Research shows we have this thing called negativity bias, where we tend to focus on negative crud over positive, or quite frankly, even neutral things. Our constant search for the bad stuff often keeps us focused on the bad stuff. It is certainly true for those self-admitted and proud pessimists who believe their avoidance of the bad stuff allows them to be more prepared for life's challenges than those who are clear-eyed and enthusiastic about life. Regardless of which path you choose, we need to do one simple thing when we find the good stuff. We need to celebrate it. We celebrate everything in our company, Verbalocity. In fact, we have a bell next to every telephone in the office, and we ring it whenever something good happens. We ring it when we get a new speaking engagement. We ring it when we get a training assignment. We ring it when we get a new coaching contract. We ring it when we get a big book order. We ring it for those things that help grow our business. We celebrate everything in our business because it carries over from celebrating everything in our personal lives. You see, my wife Heather and I celebrate a lot. And we don't wait around to celebrate the big things. My guess is the big things don't come around all that often for the average person. At least it doesn't for us. Someone gets engaged, someone gets married, someone gets promoted, someone gets to retire. These are big things, and they deserve a good celebration. Throughout our lives, small successes happen regularly, and they deserve a celebration too. My wife and I celebrate just about everything. We don't wait for the big stuff, and we don't require a bottle of Dom Perignon champagne to make it official. No, we celebrate the small and mundane things. We celebrate the things we're grateful for. The very things I talked about in the last episode of this podcast when I talked about gratefulness. While this may come as a surprise to some of you, 18 years of marriage isn't all sunshine and daisies. I know. There may have been a time or two when we've disagreed about things or just got on each other's nerves. She thinks I drive way too slow, and I think she drives way too fast. While I drive safely, she drives the car like she stole it. She doesn't like it when she sends me to the store for 2 items and I come home with a truckload of groceries, most of which are already in the pantry or the fridge. And I'm not crazy about the fact she always tells me to turn the volume down on the TV when it clearly is at the perfect listening level for a normal human being. So sure, we have differences, just like everybody else. I'd like to think we don't focus on those differences. Instead, we focus on the good things and celebrate them when we can. So, what's the point? These small celebrations force us to notice the good things in our life. There is crud all around us all, whether it's our own crud or the crud we see on the news or from the people around us. And when we notice the good things and stop to celebrate those good things, we build up a wall around us that helps us deal with the bad stuff. I love a good celebration. I love those big occasions. While those are special, we don't need them to celebrate the small things in life. We just need to put some thought into it. Here are some things to help. Number 1, create a celebration spot. Find a specific place in your house, on your patio, in your office, wherever it may be. Dedicate that space as the space you go to celebrate. This will literally require you to relocate to celebrate, making it more meaningful. Number 2, recognize something worth celebrating. The big things are usually the easiest. The small things are usually the challenge. Sometimes we need to go looking for them. For me, the easiest place to start are the answered prayers. When I've prayed that my wife gets home safely from running errands, I can't take it for granted when her car pulls safely in the driveway, which, as I mentioned, is significant for someone who drives the car like she stole it. That is reason for celebration. We have 2 dogs that don't always get along, Bacon and Banjo. They both want to be the boss, and one insists on it. When we pray for calmness in our house and we make it through a day with 2 calm dogs, we can't take it for granted. That is reason for celebration. So, whatever it is for you, recognize things throughout the day worthy of celebration. What have you gotten done? Who have you helped? Who were you patient with who normally annoys you to death? Find the thing worth celebrating and go to number 3. Stop what you're doing to recognize whatever you're celebrating. Give whatever you are celebrating your undivided attention. Separate it from your routine by going to your celebration spot for just a few minutes. It will give it more meaning. And now that you're there, number 4, do something. Raise a glass, make a toast, fist bump in celebration, make a speech, smile, express your gratitude, say a prayer. Mark the occasion by doing something. Whatever you choose to do, just soak in the moment. There are enough tough moments in our lives. Soak in the good ones. That's how we roll in the Swindall house. I recognize that not everyone is the celebrate every time something good happens kind of person. In fact, I had an encounter with a friend years ago that led me to create something for those who don't celebrate regularly. It started when I invited some friends over to watch football one Sunday afternoon. On Saturday, I went to the grocery store to buy the food to cook for my friends, and a basket full of redundant items to annoy my wife, as she would say. After getting the food, I went down the beer aisle to load up on my favorite Shiner beer. Now, this grocery store had beer on one side of the aisle and wine on the other. As I got to the end of what had to be about 6,000 bottles of wine, I found the international symbol of celebration, champagne, in a section about 2 feet wide. I remember thinking, we just don't celebrate enough. I added 6 or 8 bottles of cheap bubbly in my cart and headed home. Now, like many of you, we have a couple different refrigerators in our home, one in the kitchen and one in the laundry room. My wife always tells me if you bring home beer or water or champagne, put it in the refrigerator down in the laundry room. Apparently, she likes to use the one in the kitchen for food. Now, you need to understand that I am a very happily married man, for several reasons, not the least of which is I do what I'm told. So, I take the bottles of champagne and I put them in the refrigerator down in the laundry room. The next day, Sunday, we get out of church and I go home to start preparing the food I'm going to cook for my friends. I'm standing in the kitchen when one of my friends comes through the front door. He walks in the kitchen and says, "Hey, I'm going to grab a beer." I said, "Good. Grab me one while you're down there." He goes down to the laundry room. I hear him open the refrigerator and hear the champagne bottles all clanging together. He walks back into the kitchen and says, "Man, that refrigerator down there is full of champagne." And I said, "Oh, that's right. I forgot to tell you. We're going to be celebrating this week." He said, "You are?" He said, "What are you celebrating?" I said, "I don't know. It hasn't happened yet." He said, It hasn't happened yet?" I said, "No." He said, "Clint, allow me to explain to you how normal people do this. Normal people wait until the good thing happens, and then they go buy the champagne." I said, "I know, exactly. It's too late." How many times does something good happen in your life and you think, "Oh, this is great. Let's celebrate. Let's open a bottle of champagne. Oh, shoot, we don't have any. Oh, well, never mind." And you just let it go. No, I live a life that assumes there will always be something good happening, and I want to be prepared for it. So I buy the champagne in advance so I'm ready for it when it comes. He said, "Well, good for you. I just don't think like that." I asked him if there was one day a week where he could push all the crud to the side and celebrate all that is good in his life, would he be willing to stop and celebrate? And he said yes. So we created something for him, and he loved it. I shared it with an audience, and they loved it. We created a logo for it, and it now has its own Facebook page. It's a simple concept to be used as a reminder to stop and celebrate all that is good in your life, and it's called Champagne Friday. Friday seems to be the day most people are counting down to anyway, and champagne is the international symbol of celebration, so we combine the two as a reminder to celebrate all that is good. A few things to keep in mind. 1, Champagne Friday is not all about champagne. If you don't drink champagne, or if it's just too fancy for you, put something else in a glass. Make it Cold Beer Friday or whatever you prefer. And 2, Champagne Friday is not about alcohol. It can be iced tea Friday for all I care. It's not what you put in the glass that matters. It's the fact that you're raising it high. And 3, Champagne Friday is not about Friday. It's about a reminder that we need to stop to celebrate the good stuff in life. Heck, it could be Margarita Monday or Water Wednesday. Just put something in a glass, raise it high, and celebrate all that is good in your life. To help remind you of the need to celebrate Champagne Friday, we're adding a little something to the Tell Me Somethin Good podcast. Although this is a weekly podcast that will be published once a week every Tuesday, we will be adding a 5-minute Friday, a quick and easy reminder for listeners to stop what they're doing to celebrate all that is good in this ever-darkening world of negativity. We'll be starting it next week, so be looking for it.
You're listening to Tell Me Somethin Good with Clint Swindall.
All right, let's find some good stuff. I do my best to avoid the bad stuff by staying away from the bad news media. It's a struggle, because I want to remain current on what's happening in the world while not allowing the negativity to get to me. On one of my stops by the doom and gloom news, I saw an article that shared all the bad stuff. I read that Americans are in turmoil. More than 80% of U.S. adults report the nation's future is a significant source of stress. It indicated that Americans are the unhappiest they've been in 50 years, according to a COVID response tracking study. And a survey published this month in the medical journal JAMA found 3 times as many U.S. adults reporting symptoms of serious psychological distress in April as they did 2 years earlier. 3 times! This pandemic is clearly a major source of stress for a lot of people, and the pain is real. I wonder sometimes how much all the negative news does to make us feel even worse. I know I did after I read that report. I immediately went looking for something good, and I found it. And I want to share it with you in this segment called
Good News from Around the World.
And here's what I found. A mother in Noonan, Georgia, shared a touching story on Facebook after a cashier went above and beyond to help her daughter. Chelsea Farr said she stopped at a Quick Trip when her daughter, Adelie, fell and scraped her knee. "We just had the sweetest experience and best customer service when we stopped for ice water at Quick Trip in Noonan," Farr said. Adelie had fallen and scraped her knee and was being totally over the top about it. When we went to the cashier, Dedrick, I asked if he had any Band-Aids I could just put on her knee. This sweet man went and changed gloves, got Neosporin, and went and opened a box of Band-Aids off the shelf. He then came out and doctored her up and made her giggle. I almost didn't post this because maybe it seems like something so small, but I seriously was just blown away by his care and concern for customers that were just purchasing $1 in ice waters. And also, this world needs more positivity. Well said, Chelsea. Well said. And then there's this. A middle school librarian in Virginia has found a way to ensure kids can still rent books during a time when libraries are closed to the public. She's delivering them by drone. Kelly Pasek was one of the first customers of a drone delivery service launched in Christiansburg, Virginia, last year by Wing. After seeing how quickly her household items were delivered, she petitioned the company to take on library books too. She asked the school superintendent, who was immediately on board. Montgomery County Public Schools will be the first public school system in the world to use Wing to deliver library books to our students, Pasek said. We are thrilled for this opportunity to have a really unique way to deliver resources to our students and to do it practically on demand. Montgomery County Public Schools will be the first public school system in the world to use Wing to deliver library books to our students, Pasek said. We are thrilled for this opportunity to have a really unique way to deliver resources to our students and to do it practically on demand. Pasek coordinates the delivery process with Wing. Students can request to take out library books using an online form. Pasek then packs the books up in special delivery boxes, then drops them off at Wing, which handles the deliveries. Our libraries are essential and unique parts of our community, and it is extremely important for our students to continue to have access to the resources that are here in our libraries in order to guarantee their success, Pasek said. Now, students in Montgomery County can choose from the library's more than 150,000 titles and have their books delivered right to their front door. Don't tell me there's no good news in the world. It's all around if we're willing to go look for it. And that, my friends, is some good news from around the world. My goal each week in this podcast is to educate you, entertain you, inspire you, or celebrate with you. I figure if I can get one of those done each week, I'll have a reason to celebrate myself. As I have said before, you have many choices as to where you will spend your valuable time, and I want to make sure you feel you've invested wisely in spending time listening to the Tell Me Something Good podcast. If you ever have questions, jump over to findthegoodinlife.com to find a link to send your questions. I'll take some of what I receive and include it in this next segment called
Ask Clint Anything. 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 Anything.
This past week, I delivered 5 virtual presentations for clients. The topics ranged from dealing with change to the multiple roles of leaders to an hour-long presentation of Tell Me Something Good. While those presentations are normally delivered on a stage in front of a live audience, COVID-19 has ended live presentations for a while. Until we begin gathering again, we are restricted to the virtual world. This week, I had several people ask how to bring the Tell Me Something Good message to their organization in the midst of the shutdown. For those who are moving forward with meetings in person while putting social distancing guidelines in place, I'm happy to travel to you. In fact, we're scheduling one of those for next month right now. For those of you who are playing it safe or just have hundreds of people and won't be bringing them together anytime soon, I'm happy to deliver it virtually. As I've mentioned in previous episodes, we've built a virtual studio and are capable of delivering a great virtual experience. From professional lighting and sound to green screen capability, we've got it all covered. Reach out if you're interested. Email me at clint@findthegoodinlife.com. Again, if you have a question or just want to share something good, jump over to findthegoodinlife.com to find a link to ask a question. All right, everybody, we are about to wrap up. Before I end this episode with a challenge, I want to remind you that this episode of Tell Me Something Good has been brought to you by Let's Talk Smack, an app that provides daily nudges to take your social media game to a whole new level. If you're wanting to have a more engaging presence on social media, either personally or professionally, you need the Let's Talk Smack app to help you form a plan. Check it out wherever you get your apps. And now, the challenge. Before you come back for the next episode, I challenge you to think about what I said regarding celebration in your life. We all know we need to celebrate more. We just don't do it because we let life get in the way. The first step I gave you was to create a celebration spot, a specific place in your house, on your patio, in your office, wherever it may be. I challenge you to do exactly that before the next episode. Dedicate a space as the space you go to celebrate. Once you've done that, you'll be ready to carry out the next 3 steps to bring more celebration to your life. Well, that's all for today's episode of the Tell Me Something Good podcast. I hope you'll join us again for the next episode when I welcome a very special guest, someone out in the world doing some really good stuff. You don't want to miss it. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. If you can, leave me a rating and review. Your support can help someone else as we work to spread positivity to the world. Also, visit findthegoodinlife.com. While you're there, you can find everything related to Tell Me Something Good, all the links to join us on social media, and a place to share your good stuff or ask questions for the podcast. Thanks for listening. Until next week, I'll be praying for God to bless you in mighty ways. Now, get out there and love on somebody.
You've been listening to the Tell Me Something Good podcast. The content of the podcast is meant to engage, encourage, and enlighten you to become more positive. It's not meant to diagnose, treat, or replace the personalized care provided by a trained professional. If you're struggling with depression or mental health issues, please reach out to a counselor for diagnosis and treatment. Until next time, be positive, people.